Credit card loans have risen sharply to reach an all-time high this year as banks have tightened lending, and the delinquency rate on card loans has also risen to over 3%.
은행권이 대출 문턱을 높이면서 올해 신용카드 대출 규모가 급증해 역대 최고치를 기록했으며 카드 연체율도 3%를 돌파한 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yeah, let's start off the day and the week with some finance news.
Yep.
According to the 8 major credit card companies here in Korea, just the first 8 months of this year alone, the amount of loans extended has reached nearly 45 trillion won. And that compared to all of 2023 of 42 trillion won,
Right.
it's already surpassed that amount already. So, and if you look at just the 8-month span alone, it's the largest ever since the Financial Supervisory Service compiled such data back in 2003. So what we're seeing is a sharp increase in overall household debt, including credit card loans.
지금까지가 이 카드 대출 규모가 8월까지인가요? 지금까지의 데이터.
Through the end of August.
네, 8월 말까지 보니까 44조 원이 좀 넘는 그런 액수를 기록하고 있습니다. 그래서 작년보다 월등히 많은 그런 액수의 대출이 카드 대출로
Yeah.
지금 나왔다고 볼 수 있겠는데, 근데 이제 연체율도 꽤 높네요.
That's right. The delinquency rate has also risen. Compare that to the end of 2023 last year when it was at 2.4%. Come end of August this year, it's up to 3.1%. And the main reason for this is because what the government has told banks is that banks need to sort of tighten their requirements on loans. So what people are doing is instead of banks, they're turning to credit cards to sort of for cash-strapped people to look for a more liquid asset, such as cash,
Right.
because loan interest rates have gone up, and banks are tightening lending.
그렇죠. 은행에서 돈 빌리기가 힘들어지니까 이제 우리가 소위 말하는 카드론 내지는 현금 서비스, 이제 장기 카드 대출 같은 경우에는 우리가 카드론이라고 하고 단기 이제 카드 대출 서비스는 현금 서비스로 우리가 얘기를 하죠. 그게 이제 작년보다 더 많아졌다라는 건데 지금 잘 못 갚는 것 같습니다. 그래서 연체율이 작년보다는 더 높아요.
Right, because bank loans and credit card loans, they're slightly different.
Yeah.
Interest rates are different. But
Yes.
again, the overall issue here is that overall household debt continues to increase.
그렇죠. Let's have a look at some of the reasons people are turning to credit card loans. One is because banks have tightened lending.
Yeah, so when something's tight, right, it's becoming more firm, more strict, especially when you control it
Yeah.
or apply it. You can tighten security, for example. When there's a big event with VIPs, you'll see a large number of bodyguards when security is tightened. You can also run a tight ship. If you're the owner of a business, and you micromanage
Yep.
and you make sure every expense is accounted for, then you're running a tight ship in that case.
네. 엄격하게 무언가를 한다든지 무언가를 강화할 때 tighten 한다라고 합니다. 스펠링은 T-I-G-H-T-E-N 이라고 이렇게 스펠링을 쓸 수 있고 그다음에 이게 동사예요. 그러니까 보안을 강화한다. Tighten security. 그리고 굉장히 엄격하게 어떤 사업체를 운영한다. Run a tight ship. 그때 tight는 물론 형용사지만.
Like our producer.
네, 꼼꼼하게.
She runs a tight ship.
그래요. 그 다음에는 delinquency rate.
Yeah, if something is delinquent, it's overdue in payment. So a delinquency rate would be the percentage of a loan, for example, that are past due or in arrears, indicating the quality of a lending company or a bank loans portfolio.
delinquency가 돈을 갚지 못하는 겁니다. 연체하는 건데요. delinquency rate는 연체율이 되겠습니다.
Delinquent has another meaning as well. It's also when you violate the law. As a noun, a delinquent would be usually a young person who
Yeah.
performs illegal or immoral acts.
그렇죠. 법을 어긴 사람을 delinquent 라고 표현하기도 하죠. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 첫 번째 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. Credit card loans have risen sharply to reach an all-time high this year as banks have tightened lending, and the delinquency rate on card loans has also risen to over 3%. Let's move on to the next headline.
Israel has reportedly killed the leader of the Lebanon-based militant group Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, in an airstrike on his underground headquarters in Beirut.
이스라엘이 레바논 무장단체 헤즈볼라의 수장인 하산 나스랄라를 베이루트의 지하 본부를 공습해 사살한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah, so according to multiple media outlets, according to the Israel Defense Forces, they say they eliminated Nasrallah last Saturday in what they called a bunker busting sort of explosive missile. And other senior commanders were also killed in that airstrike. You know, Nasrallah, he's been the head of Hezbollah now for over 3 decades now. He's a highly influential figure in the region. And of course, his death is expected to further escalate tensions in the region there. But according to Israeli officials, they say the terrorist, what they call him a terrorist, was responsible for the murder of thousands of Israeli civilians and soldiers. Hezbollah, on the other hand, they have confirmed the death, but they've described Nasrallah as a sacred martyr, quote unquote, and have vowed to continue its fight against Israel.
자, 벙커 버스팅이라고 표현을 하고 있다고 했는데요. 벙커를 공격해서 벙커 버스팅을 했다. 버스트 한다는 것 자체가 뭔가 해결한다는 의미가 될 수도 있지만 공격의 의미. 여기서는 공습을 통해서 사살을 한, 제거를 한 그 작전을 얘기하고 있죠. 자, militant group. We're talking about Hezbollah here.
Yeah. So militant, you see the word sort of military in there, right? Militant would be something that's engaged in warfare or combat. If you're aggressively active or combative, you're a militant. So a militant group would be an organization in support of some sort of political or social cause that usually takes more extreme or violent measures.
네, militant group를 우리말로는 이제 무장단체라고 하는데 우리가 보통 군대를 말할 때 영어로 military라고 하죠. 그래서 이제 그 무기들을 장착한 그런 의미라고 보시면 되겠습니다. militant group 무장단체가 되겠고요. 자, 그 다음으로 underground.
Yeah, underground, simply put, it's beneath the surface of the ground. It's a compound word there, but it could also mean, you know, non-mainstream, sort of outside the establishment, right? So like underground music, you know, underground art scene, you use in those instances as well.
맞아요. 이게 지하라는 뜻이죠. 여러분도 아마 굉장히 익숙한 단어일 텐데 비유적으로는 뭐 인디 밴드라든지 그런 인디펜던트하게 활동을 하는 아직 엄청 대중화되지는 않은 경우에는 영어로 underground band라고 하네요.
Sure.
underground music를 뭐 연주한다 이렇게 표현할 수도 있어요.
Yeah, so I know like Hongdae has a big underground music scene.
Oh,
right?
definitely. 맞아요. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Israel has reportedly killed the leader of the Lebanon-based militant group Hezbollah, Nassan Nasrallah, in an airstrike on his underground headquarters in Beirut.
Millions have been left without power after strong winds and torrential rain from Hurricane Helene wreaked unprecedented havoc and killed at least 64 people across southeastern United States.
허리케인 헬렌이 미국 남동부를 강타하면서 전례 없는 강풍과 폭우 피해가 발생해 지금까지 최소 64명이 사망하고 수백만 명이 정전 피해를 입었습니다. 그래요. 이렇게 60명 이상의 사망자가 나오는 그런 허리케인인데 영어로는 H-E-L-E N-E.
There's an extra E in there.
그럼 헬렌이 아니라 헬린
It's
이렇게
Helene,
발음하는군요.
yes, as the name. The emphasis is on the second syllable as opposed to Helen.
Okay.
But Helene was, I believe, the second strongest Category 4 hurricane to make landfall in the U.S., and it caused massive destruction there late last week, beginning with Florida, and it moved all the way up the East Coast. Deaths reported in 5 states, including Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia. But it wasn't just the wind. It was a very wet hurricane with a lot of heavy rain, flooding, and even tornadoes in its path. So officials are estimating billions of dollars in damage and to homes and other property as well as infrastructure. And on the West Coast, Mexico has also seen another tropical storm. Going back to Helene, though, it's been downgraded since to a tropical storm. But so our hearts and our thoughts go out to those affected by Hurricane Helene. And on the same note, Korea, I believe there is a typhoon possibly towards the end of the week, Kraton. But we don't know as of yet whether Korea will be directly affected.
자, 미국의 이 헬린이라고 하는 허리케인, 지금은 이제 사이클론으로
Tropical storm.
트로피컬 스톰. 아, 네네. 그래서 지금은 그 강도가 하향 조정이 됐습니다. 조정이라고 말하긴 그렇지만 categorizing 하는 데 있어서는 이제는 조금 세력이 약화됐어요.
Right. It's been
그래서-
downgraded.
그렇습니다. 그래서 지금은 이제 최초의 그 강력했던 허리케인은 아니긴 하지만 헬린으로 인해서 굉장히 많은 피해가 있었습니다. So when you say this hurricane caused X dollars in damages, in Korean we would say 이만큼의 피해가 있었다. 피해 규모가 얼마였다. In English, this has caused. How much did you say it was?
Billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars in
Yes.
damages.
Yeah.
와, 피해 규모가 어마어마하고요. 그 다음에는 이제 인명 피해가 또 굉장히 많이 났다는 게 안타깝습니다. There's been a lot of casualties,
Yeah.
including more than 60 deaths.
You know, and in this day of social media and everyone with the smartphone and a camera, some pretty incredible images coming out. I saw videos of people wading in kayaks in their own living room because their living rooms were flooded with water, and those who did not evacuate, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A lot of people were left without power. too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So that's our first expression, right? If you're left without power here, left is not left and right. It's the past participle of leave, right? To leave, to remain in a certain condition, right? And the condition here would be a state without electricity.
Yeah, exactly. Be left. 남겨지다. Without power. 전력 없이 남겨지다. 이렇게 문장 구조가 만들어진 것인데요. 이걸 우리가 자연스럽게 해석을 하면은 전력이 끊겼다. 이렇게 하면 되겠습니다. 전기가 끊겼다.
You can easily say this as millions are without power if
yeah,
it's in the in the present tense as well, right?
그러네요. Left 빼고 millions are without power.
Exactly.
많은 사람들이 수백만 명이 지금 전기가 끊겼습니다.
Yeah,
이렇게
this
볼
is
수도
passive.
있죠.
So it's, we like to say, we like to speak in the active voice. So millions are without power.
Yep,
as of
exactly.
now, right?
자, 그 다음에는 큰 파괴력이 있는 그런 타이푼이 아니라
Hurricane.
허리케인이었죠.
Yes.
네, 미국에서는 이제 다 허리케인으로 부르고 우리 이제
In the
아시아
Atlantic
쪽에서는
Ocean, right.
네, 우리가 타이푼이라고 하는데 자, 미국의 이 허리케인이 큰 피해를 입혔어요. 영어로는 이 표현을 많이 씁니다. To wreak havoc.
Yeah, so havoc, HAVOC, would mean destruction or devastation, chaos.
Yeah.
And we usually use these two words together a lot, right?
Yes.
Wreak, WREAK. To wreak havoc would be to cause a lot of this destruction.
Yep, exactly. havoc가 그 큰 피해예요. 그런데 피해를 불러일으켰다라는 뜻으로 wreak를 굉장히 많이 쓰니까 같이 알아두시는 게 좋습니다. 여기서는 Helene wreaked unprecedented havoc.
Yeah, never before seen.
Exactly. 전례가 없는 그런 규모의 피해가 발생했습니다. Well, let me read the headline again. Millions have been left without power after strong winds and torrential rain from Hurricane Helene wreaked unprecedented havoc and killed at least 64 people across southeastern United States. Here's our next headline.
Climate activists in London have thrown tomato soup, for over two sunflowers paintings by Vincent van Gogh, just an hour after two others were jailed for a similar protest action in 2022.
영국의 환경단체 활동가들이 빈센트 반 고흐의 그림 해바라기에 토마토 수프를 끼얹었습니다. 이들은 2022년에 비슷한 항의 퍼포먼스를 했던 다른 두 사람이 수감된 지 불과 1시간 만에 이런 일을 한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah. So we've seen this before. But in this case, three supporters walked into the National Gallery in London on Friday afternoon and threw, in case you're wondering, it was a Heinz brand of tomato soup over these two paintings. So my understanding is there are two sunflowers
there are
Van Gogh
many.
paintings. There are many.
Many
Okay.
sunflowers, yeah.
Okay, but
yeah.
there was the 1889 and the 1888 version of these paintings.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure why the brand of this soup or the flavor of this soup is relevant to this story, but it does conjure up images of Andy Warhol and his pop art with tomato soup. Or is that
Right.
Campbell's soup?
I
Maybe that
don't
was
know,
Campbell's soup.
yeah.
But in any case, I'm not sure what the significance is that. But
Mm.
coincidence or not, just an hour prior to this happening, two others that were jailed or did something similar were jailed in a similar protest action. And that happened back in 2022, 2 years ago. So this is a common occurrence. And of course, with these activists, I think what their cause is noble, I believe. But
Yeah.
the jury is out on sort of how effective these sort of types of protests are.
The activists call themselves Just Stop Oil,
Sure.
or JSO. 이 Just Stop Oil이라는 이름으로 활동을 하는 활동가들인데요. 바로 이제 2년 전에 이 비슷한 범행을 저질렀습니다. 그래서 그것에 대한 실형 선고가 며칠 전에 내려졌어요. 근데 그 실형 선고가 나오자마자 1시간 만에 같은 단체 사람들인데 바로 이렇게 영국의 내셔널 갤러리에 가서 또다시 항의하는 그런 제스처로 방고우의 해바라기 2점에다가 수프를 이제 던진 거죠. 방고우는 해바라기 그리는 걸 참 좋아했습니다. 그래서 굉장히 많아요. 근데 저도 어렸을 때는 하나만 있는 줄 알았는데 유명한 그림 있잖아요. 방고우의 해바라기. 근데 사실은 여러 버전으로 그리는 걸 참 좋아했습니다.
In my understanding, speaking of interior design, if you have a picture of sunflowers in your home, it's supposed to bring good luck.
Yeah, I guess so. Although for Van Gogh, he was just very poor.
Yeah.
So he didn't have money to buy models or, to pay for expensive things to draw. So he just drew whatever he could find. And I guess he had a pot of sunflowers in his room.
Was he the one that also experienced depression
Yes,
as well?
yes, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. All right, so let's have a look at this expression here, climate activists.
Yeah, so an activist is a person who uses or supports strong actions in support of or opposition to a certain issue. And in this case, it would be about the climate and climate change and the environment.
Exactly. Climate activist는 기후 운동가, 기후 활동가라고 하면 되겠죠. And to be jailed.
Right, to jail as a verb would be to incarcerate, confine, or imprison or detain someone. In this case, it was in the passive voice to be jailed. So these activists were jailed by law enforcement.
Be jailed라는 것은 이제 수감되다, 투옥되다라는 뜻이죠. 그래서 그런 실형이 선고됐어요. 그러자마자 이제 같은 단체 사람들이 또 다시 이런 범행을 저질렀습니다.
Thrown in the slammer. How about that?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the artwork was covered in some sort of
Protective.
casing. Yeah,
But that's
Yeah.
a good point because in the prior case 2 years ago, they were actually fined as well. Not fined, but they estimated the damage for their actions at 10,000 euros.
Oh, wow.
And that's because the frame alone that protects the painting costs that much.
아, 그러게 말입니다. 이제 기후 활동가들이 미술 작품에다가 뭐 예전에는 손을 붙인 적이
Yeah,
있죠.
they've glued themselves
글루,
to. Yeah.
본드 같은 걸로 이제 손을 탁 붙인 적도 있고 뭐 이번에 수프 던지고 그랬는데 그럴 때 이제 대체적으로는 이런 유명한 작품은 그 겉에 보호막이 하나 있기는 있다고 해요. 그럼에도 불구하고 액자에 묻고 이런 것들은 또 복원이 잘 안 되니까 그런 거에 대한 피해는 좀 나올 것 같습니다. 피해 액수가 좀 나올 것 같네요.
Right. If their goal is to garner attention to their cause, they certainly have done that. But it also ruins the experience for
Yeah.
any sort of visitors that might want to enjoy these paintings.
그렇습니다. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Climate activists in London have thrown tomato soup over 2 sunflowers paintings by Vincent van Gogh, just an hour after 2 others were jailed for a similar protest action in 2022. Let's move on to the final headline.
Many companies in the US have fired Gen Z workers just months after hiring them, according to a survey, while business owners are hesitant to bring on recent college graduates due to concerns about their work ethic, communication skills, and readiness to do the job.
설문조사 결과 미국의 많은 기업이 Z세대 직원들을 고용한 지 몇 달 만에 해고했으며 이후에도 근태 관리 불량, 부족한 의사소통 능력, 업무 준비성 결여 등을 이유로 Z세대가 주인 대학 신규 졸업자를 채용하기를 주저하는 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yeah. So there's a generational divide here.
Yeah.
And this survey what they did was they asked employers about their recent college graduates.
Yep.
And it found that 6 in 10 employers have already let go recent college graduates this year alone.
Wow.
1 in 7 say they're inclined to refrain, to just not hire new graduates next year. And we're talking 1,000 business leaders participating in this survey. So they might be onto something because unlike their older counterparts, like millennials, Gen X, and so on and so forth, Gen Z suffers from this perception that, first of all, they're short attention spans. They have a habit of laziness, and they insist on a robust work-life balance.
Yeah.
And that, experts say, is a byproduct of growing up in this digital world.
You might even say they feel entitled.
Entitled. There's a sense of entitlement there, possibly. Yeah.
Okay, 6 out of 10 is quite a lot of employers
Yeah.
saying they've laid off college graduates recently. 1,000명 정도의 비즈니스 리더들, 경영자들을 대상으로 설문조사를 미국에서 했습니다. 그 1,000명 중에 60% 정도가 최근에 대학 졸업생을 해고했다. 고용한 지도 얼마 안 됐는데 해고한 이유를 보니까요. 일단은 그 attention span이 굉장히 짧다라고 했죠. 집중할 수 있는 시간이 너무 짧고요. 집중력이 굉장히 부족한 거죠. 그다음에 이제 일을 잘 못하는데 또 뭐라고 하면은
Yeah.
막 운다든지 아니면 굉장히 이제 격하게 반응을 한다든지 같이 일하기 힘들다라고 이제 이 비즈니스 리더들이 얘기를 한두 명도 아니고 60%면 상당히 많은 거거든요. 이렇게 반응을 했답니다.
We're talking about the U.S. though. We
맞아요.
want to make
미국,
sure
미국
because
상황이고요. 네.
yeah, because a lot of these younger workers also are very socially and politically driven, and oftentimes that might clash in the workplace, which disrupts the workflow,
Yep.
and that's a headache for a lot of business owners.
Exactly. 그리고 우리나라에서는 이제 Z세대라고 하는데 영어로는 Generation Z or Gen Z 이렇게 표현을 많이 하죠. Z, of course, is the North American way of saying that alphabet.
Yeah.
In England, people will normally say Z.
As in Canada as well.
Oh, really?
Canada, they say Z.
I see.
But I've kind of,
Yeah.
steered more towards the American version
Yeah.
of saying it.
But for some reason with Gen Zers,
Yeah.
I feel like it just feels more natural to say Gen Z instead of Gen Z.
That's probably American media that has influenced you.
Yes, I think so. Okay. Well, let's have a look at the term hesitant
Sure.
to do something.
If you're hesitant, you're slow or to act or proceed out of fear or just simple indecisiveness. You might be reluctant or skeptical.
Yeah. 주저하는 겁니다. I'm
Yeah.
hesitant. The CEOs are hesitant to hire college graduates. 지금 올 초에 고용했던 대학 졸업생들을 벌써 지금 굉장히 많이 해고했다. 그리고 앞으로 새로 대학 졸업생을 고용하는 것에 대해서 할까 말까 좀 망설여진다. 주저하게 된다. A lot of company leaders are hesitant to hire college graduates. Work ethic?
Yeah, this is a good expression. It's basically the principle that hard work, working hard is intrinsically virtuous, meaning that it's important. Work is important in and of itself, not for any other purpose. Usually the belief that it's important to work hard.
Yep. Work ethic. 여기서 ethic라는 건 윤리라는 뜻이 원래 있어요. 그래서 이제 직업 윤리, 직업 정신 이게 되겠죠. So Gen Zers seem to have a different work ethic
Yeah.
to the generation before them.
Right. You can't say it's wrong. They may just say it's different.
different.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let me read this headline again. Many companies in the US have fired Gen Z workers just months after hiring them, according to a survey, while business owners are hesitant to bring on recent college graduates due to concerns about their work ethic, communication skills, and readiness to do the job. And that's it for our 5 headlines with Shane.
The proportion of self-employed people in the country's workforce this year fell below 20% for the first time since records began in 1963, according to Statistics Korea.
통계청에 따르면 올해 국내 전체 취업자 중 자영업자 비중이 1963년 관련 통계 작성 이후 처음으로 20% 선 아래로 떨어졌습니다. All right, so less and less self-employed
Self-employed.
people.
Right,
All
right.
Tell us about that.
So Statistics Korea revealed these figures on Monday, and it said that 5,636,000 people, or 19.7% of the working population, were self-employed through August this year. And they say if there are no significant changes in the labor market, the overall figure for the year is expected to fall below 20% for the first time since 1963, and that's the year when the nation started compiling related data. So the corresponding figure stood at 37.2% back in 1963, and it decreased to 28.8% in 1989 when it hit less than 30% for the first time ever, before declining to 20% as of last year. The number of individuals who work without pay in a business operated by a family member was 882,000, according for 3.1% of the country's workforce. And combined, the number of self-employed people and unpaid family workers totaled 6,518,000, or 22.8% of all workers.
자, 여기서 self-employed people, 이 자영업자가 되겠습니다. 올해는 이제 아직 다 지나지 않았기 때문에 1월부터 8월까지의 데이터를 보니까 자영업자의 비중이 19.7%로 나왔는데, 이게 이제 지금까지 그 1963년 이후 매해 자영업자의 비중이 전체 취업자 중에 몇 %일까 체크한 것 중 가장 낮은 20%가 채 안 되는 이제 첫 그런 통계입니다. 올해 말까지도 거의 비슷할 것이다라고 전문가들은 내다보고 있다고 하는데요. 1963년도 그 당시에는 자영업자가 37%나 됐다고 하고요. 1989년도에는 28%. 이게 조금씩 줄기는 했는데 이번에 많이 줄었습니다. So less and less self-employed people.
Right.
And this is in proportion to the rest of the workforce.
The workforce, right. So when we are talking about the workforce, we're talking about the people who are engaged in or available for work, either in a country or area, in a particular company or industry.
노동인구를 한 단어 workforce 이렇게 표현할 수 있고요. Since records began.
Yeah, since records began. So this refers to the point in the past when people started keeping record of, when they began keeping track of such and such figure or such and such data. So in this news, it was 1963 when they started keeping track of how many people were in the workforce.
Exactly. And you'll find this expression again in one of our other headlines. It's used quite a lot.
Yeah.
But you should look at this expression together with for the first time. And for the first time이라는 것은 이제 처음이라는 뜻이잖아요. 근데 이게 뭐 평생에 걸쳐서 처음일 수도 있고 아니면 여기서처럼 이 기록을 시작한 이후로 처음일 수도 있고 아니면 오늘 들어 처음 이럴 수도 있죠. 그럴 때는 for the first time today.
Yeah.
이번 달 들어 처음. For the first time this month. 이런 식으로 뒤에다가 기간을 쓰시면 됩니다. All right, here's the headline again. The proportion of self-employed people in the country's workforce this year fell below 20% for the first time since records began in 1963, according to Statistics Korea. Now let's move on to the next headline.
A port strike on the U.S. East Coast and Gulf of Mexico is set to start on Tuesday local time, according to the International Longshoremen's Association Union, signaling action that could cause delays and snarl supply chains.
미국 동부 해안과 멕시코만에서 항만 파업이 현지 시간으로 화요일부터 시작될 예정이라는 국제 항만 노동자 협회 노조의 발표가 나온 가운데 이로 인해 화물 처리 지연 및 공급망 혼란이 예상되고 있습니다. This is the first time in half a century that this kind of strike is happening, right?
Right. So first off, the United States Maritime Alliance, they are refusing to address, as you mentioned, half-century of wage subjugation. So this is according to the union. They said this in a statement. And the U.S. Maritime Alliance, they're also known as USMX. They represent employers of the East and Gulf Coast longshore industry. And if union members do walk off of their jobs or at their jobs at ports stretching from all the way from Maine to Texas. It's going to be the first coast-wide International Longshoremen's Association strike since 1977, and it will affect ports that handle about half of the nation's ocean shipping. The union did say previously that the strike would not impact military cargo shipments or cruise ship traffic, but the strike could stop the flow of everything from food to automobiles at major ports in a dispute that could jeopardize jobs and stoke inflation weeks ahead of the U.S. presidential election.
지금 여기서 말하는 이 파업 같은 경우에는 50년 만에 처음 있는 그런 동부 항만 파업이라고 합니다. 50년을 50 years라고 할 수도 있지만 half a century, 100년의 반 이렇게 표현을 할 수도 있겠고요. 이로 인해서 이제 미국 내에서도 여러 가지 차질이 빚어질 수 있겠지만 또 이제 미국에서 다른 곳으로 이제 그 이어지는 뭐 물류라든지 이런 것들이 지금 역시 차질을 겪으면서 대혼란이 일어날 수도 있다라는 그 우려가 있습니다만 일단은 지금 미국 내에서의 손실액만 한 50억 달러가 될 것이다. 그 정도로 추정이 되고 있고요. 미국 시간으로 10월 1일부터니까 아직은 아니겠죠.
Yep,
네,
yep.
이제 뭐 곧 미국에서 이 파업이 시작이 될 거라고 합니다. 자, 그러면 첫 번째 표현을 좀 볼게요. To signal something.
Right, to signal something. So it's being used as a verb. So it's an act or an event or a word that serves to start some sort of action. So you're using this sort of action or event to begin some sort of action.
To signal이라는 동사는요. 무언가를 암시하다, 시사하다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. And when you're driving, you might signal that you're going to make a left turn
Yep.
or a right turn. The next expression is snarl something.
Yeah, so snarl, it means to entangle or to impede something.
그렇죠. 역시 동사입니다. To snarl이라는 것은 헝클어지게 하다라는 뜻이 있어서요. Snarl supply chains, 공급망이 지금 크게 그 차질을 겪을 수도
Yep.
있다. 이렇게 해석을 할 수 있겠죠. So it's going to snarl supply chains, not only in America, but it could affect supply chains around the world.
It could, yeah.
Well, here's the headline again. A port strike on the U.S. East Coast and Gulf of Mexico is set to start on Tuesday, local time, according to the International Longshoremen's Association Union, signaling action that could cause delays and snarl supply chains.
A waterspout was observed in Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour for the first time since records began in 1959, with social media platforms flooded with photos and videos of the phenomenon.
홍콩에서 1959년 기상 관측이 시작된 이래 처음으로 빅토리아 항에서 용오름이 관측되면서 이를 포착한 사진과 영상이 여러 소셜미디어에 쏟아졌습니다. 그러니까 이 용오름이라는 게 워터 스파우트라고도 하는데요. 물이 쫙 쏘아오르는 그런 현상을 얘기하는
Yeah,
거죠.
it's basically a long column of water that shoots up into the air. And as we mentioned, of course, there might have been more occurrences of these water spouts before, but it's the first time it's on record. So it's been cited for the first time since 1959, and that's when they started keeping record of these things. And it's a very rare sight, as you can imagine. I saw pictures as well, and it was huge. 'Cause
정말 저도 영상, 네. 그러니까 영상이랑 사진 말씀하셔서 저도 확인해 보니까
Yeah.
이게 끝이 보이지 않을
Yeah.
정도로 물에서부터 일단은 이제 회오리 치듯이
goes up
물이
into the sky.
휙휙 돌고 그
Yeah.
다음에 물 기둥이 하늘 끝까지 올라가는
Yeah.
것처럼 보이더라고요.
Yeah, yeah. And you know how, Hong Kong, it's just full of these high rises and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was just going up above those high rises. So it's an amazing, amazing sight. And of course, if you were there to see it in person, how amazing would it have been?
Yeah.
So a lot of people who were outdoors in swimming pools in that area where the water spout was believed to have landed, they were amazed. People started taking pictures. They were posting videos up on social media, so it went viral, of course.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned, this phenomenon, it's a weather phenomenon, and it's characterized by a rotating column of water. So it's going around, and it also has air, and it forms over a body of water. So it's forming over the ocean. And in Chinese, they call it dragon sucking water, which makes sense, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we also say 용오름, so
Yeah.
we have the word dragon in there.
Yeah.
Same as China, but it's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I guess the reaction was kind of twofold. On the one hand, people said, wow, this is fantastic. It's spectacular. On the other hand, people were worried. What's happening with the climate and the weather and, and what else can we expect in the future?
Yeah, so I think any sort of natural occurrence that we see these days, if it's a little bit off, because we're seeing extreme weather conditions, we kind of think, maybe the Earth is really sick, there's something going on, and it worries us.
홍콩 용오름 이렇게 검색해서 한번 찾아보시면 영상이랑 사진이 많아요. 주변에서 이 현장을 포착한 사람들이 많기 때문에 정말 놀라운 이 현상이 일어났습니다. 1959년부터 관련된 기록을 했는데 그 날씨 기록이요. 근데 이제 처음으로 이런 용오름이 기록이 된 거죠, 이번에. Okay, so let's have a look at the first expression, a water spout.
Yeah, a water spout. So, like you mentioned, it's a rotating column of air that occurs over a body of water, and it usually appears as a funnel-shaped cloud in contact with the water.
네. 그 용오름을 영어로는 water spout라고 합니다. S-P-O-U-T고요. 한 단어가 되겠습니다. 기상 관측을 시작한 1959년 이후 처음으로 홍콩의 빅토리아 하버에서 이런 water spout가 관측이 됐습니다. Media platforms flooded with photos and videos.
Yeah. So when something arrives in overwhelming amounts or quantities, we say it's flooded with, or you can also say inundated with.
Yeah, exactly. 무언가가 넘쳐날 때 영어로는 flooded with, inundated with 라는 표현을 많이 쓰는데 둘 다 강우량과 관련된 표현이에요.
Yeah.
flood는 우리 홍수죠. 그리고 inundated라는 것도 역시
Yeah.
홍수의 의미가 있기 때문에 그게 이제 넘쳐나다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. 소셜 미디어 플랫폼에 사진과 영상이 아주 많다라는 뜻으로 보시면 되겠네요. 헤드라인 다시 읽겠습니다. A water spout was observed in Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour for the first time since records began in 1959, with social media platforms flooded with photos and videos of the phenomenon. Let's move on to the next headline.
A Harvard medical student reportedly consumed 720 eggs in a month to study the effects of this foul diet on his cholesterol and observed a nearly 20% drop in his levels.
한 하버드 의대생이 콜레스테롤 수치에 어떤 변화가 있는지 연구할 목적으로 한 달에 달걀 720개를 먹는 실험을 한 결과 콜레스테롤 수치가 20% 가까이 감소한 것으로 알려졌습니다. Tell us more.
Right. So this Harvard med student's hypothesis was that consuming 60 dozen eggs would not increase his LDL or low density lipoprotein, or they're called the bad cholesterols. So he hypothesized that his LDL level would not increase by the time the month was over.
Right.
And he ate 24 eggs a day for an average of 1 per hour. And so basically that's, taking in a lot of cholesterol. And it said that the dietary intake of cholesterol more than quintupled. And so he is believed to have taken in 133,200 milligrams of cholesterol over that month. But the study found that, those with health issues, including diabetes, who are eating 6 to 12 eggs per week, it didn't have a negative effect on the total blood cholesterol levels or heart disease risk factors, but rather it increased high-density lipoprotein or HDL cholesterol, and they're called the good cholesterol. So this is okay for you or good for you to have in your body. So it said that adding carbs back into the diet of the lean mass hyper respondents can lower your LDL levels. But this Harvard Med students, he chose fruit, including blueberries, bananas, and strawberries to eat in the final 2 weeks along with the eggs. And this resulted, he thinks it resulted in that dramatic drop. And I think eggs have a bad rap because, you think, you can't eat so many eggs in
Yeah.
a day. It's going to
Yeah.
kill you, your cholesterol level. You keep thinking that, but I guess no one really wanted to carry out the experiment themselves. So he decided to just go ahead and do it who else is going to do it? I'm
Yeah.
going to do it. So he did it. And it turns out that it can actually lower your cholesterol level. So it goes against what popular belief is.
Yeah, absolutely. 자, 이 의대생의 이름은 Nick Norwitz입니다. 그래서 bad cholesterol이라고 하는 LDL 레벨이 계란을 많이 먹었을 때 어떻게 되나를 보려고 했는데요. 하루에 달걀 24개.
Yeah.
이거를 한 달 동안 이렇게 먹어서 720개의 달걀을 총 먹은 겁니다. 매일매일 1시간에 한 번 정도 꼴로 달걀을 계속해서 먹었더니 역시나 그 나쁜 콜레스테롤이라고 하는 LDL 레벨이 전혀 올라가지 않았고 오히려 내려갔대요. 네, 20% 내려갔고
And that's a lot.
That is.
Yeah.
그다음에 좋은 콜레스테롤이라고 하는 HDL 레벨은 올라갔다고 합니다. 그러니까 이제 앞으로 많은 분들이 지금 마트 가서 달걀 사서 드실 것 같은 생각도 좀 드는데
I don't know. 20 for a day is a little
this is
too
a lot.
much.
This
Yeah.
is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. 우리가 무언가를 먹는다라고 할 때 먹다도 있고 섭취하다도 있고 영어로는 eat 말고 consume이라는 표현도 쓰죠.
Yeah, consume. So it means, as you mentioned, eat, drink, or ingest foods or drinks.
Exactly. 소비하다라는 뜻으로도 알고 계시죠. consume. 음식을 우리가 섭취할 때도 consume을 씁니다. 이거는 먹는 것뿐만 아니라 마시는 것도 마찬가지예요.
Yeah.
자, 그 다음에 이제 재밌는 표현이 나오는데 foul diet라고
Right.
해서 foul을 quotation mark 안에다가 넣었어요.
Yeah.
자, 이런 quotation mark가 들어갔을 때는 그 여러 가지 의미가 있을 것이다라는 게 암시가 돼요.
Right.
그러니까 때로는 말하는 사람, 나는 이렇게 생각하지 않지만 다른 사람은 이렇게 말해. 이런 의미가 될 수도 있고 이 경우에는 foul의 동음이어가 연상이 되는 단어거든요.
Right.
So when you think of rotten eggs, for
Yep.
example, they smell really bad.
Yep.
And you might say that's a foul smell, F-O-U-L.
Yep.
But in this case, we're talking about F-O-W-L. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so chickens that lay the eggs can be considered a fowl, which is a bird of a type that is used to produce meat or eggs.
Exactly. 자, F-O-W-L, foul이라는 거는 가금류, 닭 같은 거, 닭오리 이런 것들 가금류를 말해요. 그런데 동음이어 중에 F-O-W-L 있죠. 이거는 특히 계란이 좀 상하거나
Yep.
그랬을 때 나는 악취 그거를 foul smell이라고 하거든요. 그래서 이걸 좀 재미있게
Yeah.
설명한 겁니다. 이 학생이 생각해 보세요. 1시간에 한 번씩 하루에 24개의 달걀 한 달에 720개 먹었으면 조금 냄새 났을 수도 있겠다 하는 좀
probably reeked of
그래서 재미있게 그렇게 표현했다 볼 수 있고 우리 축구에서 말하는 foul도 F-O-W-L이 아니라 F-O-U-L 이렇게 씁니다.
Yep.
Here's the headline again. A Harvard medical student reportedly consumed 720 eggs in a month to study the effects of this foul diet on his cholesterol and observed a nearly 20% drop in his levels. Here's our final headline.
A new study has revealed that more than a dozen bacterial species among the hundreds that reside in people's mouths have been linked to a 50% increased risk of developing head and neck cancer.
수백 종에 달하는 사람의 구강 박테리아 중 12종 이상이 두경부암 발병 위험을 50% 높인다는 새로운 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so our mouths are, as we mentioned, full of microbes, bacteria, lots and lots of things growing in there, which is why we should brush and floss regularly, right? So some of these microbes, they have previously been shown to contribute to periodontal disease, serious gum infections that can eat away at your bones and your jawbone and even the soft tissue surrounding your teeth. But experts have been observing that people with poor oral health are statistically more vulnerable than those with healthier mouths to head and neck squamous cell carcinoma. It's called HNSCC. It's a group that includes the most common cancers of the mouth and throat. So this study was led by researchers at NYU, and they looked at the genetic makeup of these oral microbes collected from healthy people. And of the hundreds of different bacteria that are routinely found in your mouth, 13 species were shown to either raise or lower the risk of these cancers, HNSCC. And the researchers said that their study was designed to identify the correlations between risk of cancer and certain bacteria in the mouth, but not to establish a direct cause and effect link. And that's going to require further research.
Right. And to prevent that, of course, as you said earlier on, brushing and flossing is essential.
Of course, yeah.
brushing은 이를 닦는 것이고, flossing은 이제 플러스 이용한 치간 칫솔이라든지 아니면은 이런 플러스 이용해서 사이사이를 닦는 걸 말하죠. 또 참고로 치과 얘기가 나왔으니까 우리가 흔히 말하는 스케일링, 이거 영어로는 get a dental clean 아니면 dental cleaning 이렇게 표현합니다. 스케일링을 한다라고 영어로는 말하지 않는 것 같아요. 그래서 이건 참고로 알아두시면 되겠습니다. Alright, so what's residing?
Residing means living somewhere. So having one's permanent home in a particular place means to reside somewhere.
In this case, we're talking about bacteria.
In your mouth.
Residing in your mouth.
Living in your mouth.
Oh dear.
Thriving in your mouth.
거주하다 살다라는 뜻이에요. reside, 입 안에서 거주하고 있는 우리 박테리아. 이렇게 말하면 좀 우습게 들리는데 그냥 입 안에 있다라는 뜻이겠죠. 자, 그다음에 risk of developing something.
Right. So the risk or a risk is the probability of something bad happening. And developing here means a disease or some kind of condition, developing meaning that disease or bacteria growing in your mouth.
그래요. risk는 무언가의 위험이고 of developing something, 무언가 어떤 질병을 발생시키는 그런 위험성을 말하겠죠. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A new study has revealed that more than a dozen bacterial species among the hundreds that reside in people's mouths have been linked to a 50% increased risk of developing head and neck cancer. 여기서 하나 더 언급하고 싶은 게 있는데요. 우리말로 왜 굳이 12종 이상이라고 했을까? 왜냐면 이제 총 13종이거든요. 그럼 그냥 13종이라고 하지라고 생각하실 수도 있어요. 근데 영어에서는 dozen이라는 단위를 많이 쓰기 때문에 이거를 그대로 번역하다 보니 12종이라고 했어요. 물론 우리는 12를 하나의 단위로 잘 쓰진 않죠. 네. 그래서 이거는 만약에 그냥 한글 기사로 썼으면 13종 이렇게 갔을 것 같아요. 아니면 10종 이상. 근데 영어식으로 쓰다 보니까 12종 이상이라는 이런 표현이 나왔습니다. Alright, well that's it for the headlines with our newscaster Karen.
The country's outbound shipments expanded by more than 7% in September year on year, marking 12 consecutive months of growth, according to the Trade Ministry.
우리나라 9월 수출이 전년 동기 대비 7% 이상 늘어나면서 12개월 연속 증가세를 이어갔다고 산업통상자원부가 발표했습니다. Tell us more.
Well, it's good news for exports. They're going up and up and up and up and up. We have nearly $58.8 billion last month, and that's up by 7.5% from last year. Semiconductors have done very well. They jumped 37.1% last month. They're up to $13.6 billion. That's a new high, and the first new high they've had in 3 months. Exports to China have increased by 6% on year. To the US, they've increased by 3.4%. And, well, imports have increased as well, but we still have a trade surplus.
Yeah.
And we've had a trade surplus for 16 consecutive months so far.
Very good news indeed. It says that outbound shipments expanded. And when we say outbound shipments, we're talking about exports.
Yes.
What does expanded mean?
Oh, to get bigger. I can expand on the meaning here by telling you it means larger or wider or sometimes getting more information. But in this case, we're talking about bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, as opposed to extending something, which means it's getting longer.
Exactly. So we use extending for measurements of length, or we use it for dates. For example, you extend your stay or extend your work hours or whatever it may be. But if you're expanding something, it's getting larger in size.
네. 자, expanding은 확대되는 것이고요. extending은 늘리는 것입니다. 그래서 시간이나 길이는 extending 한다고 하고요. 규모라든지 어떤 한도, 범위가 전체적으로 커질 때는 확대되는 것이니까 expanding이라고 합니다. 우리나라의 이제 수출 규모가 커졌다 이런 뜻으로 Korea's outbound shipments expanded. What about year on year?
It means from the last year or the previous year to this year. So when we talk about some kind of figure year on year, we're comparing the present figure or this year's figure to the previous year's figure.
Exactly. 자, year on year. 이걸 약자로 그냥 YOY라고 쓰기도 하는 것 같아요. 이거는 이제 전년 동기 대비라는 뜻이죠. 작년 같은 기간에 비해서 year on year 이거를 이제 굉장히 영어로는 심플하게 쓰고 가운데에 하이픈이 2개 들어갑니다. year hyphen on hyphen year. 그래서 하나의 표현이 되는 거죠. 참고로 on year라는 표현도 있는데 이거는 형용사예요. 그래서 명사로도 쓰일 수도 있고 좀 부사로는 잘 쓰지 않는 것 같습니다. 그래서 이건 참고하시면 될 것 같고 여기서는 부사처럼 쓴 거잖아요. It looks like an adverb,
Yes.
the usage of this expression here. Year on year, compared to the same period last year 라는 뜻입니다. Well, here's the headline again. The country's outbound shipments expanded by more than 7% in September year on year, marking 12 consecutive months of growth, according to the Trade Ministry. Now let's move on to the next headline.
A new survey shows that 65% of Koreans are concerned about their physical health, while 9 out of 10 respondents have been taking health supplements such as multivitamins and probiotics for at least a month.
설문조사 결과 한국인의 65%가 자신의 신체 건강을 걱정하고 있으며 응답자 10명 중 9명은 종합 비타민이나 유산균 등의 건강기능식품을 최소 한 달 이상 복용한 것으로 나타났습니다. So tell us more.
First, I'd like to apologise. I went American when I first read this headline and went British the second time. I said vitamins and then I said vitamins. You can say both though,
Both
don't
are
worry.
okay. 맞아요. 북미권에서는 vitamin 그리고 영국에서는 vitamin이라고 하는데요. 둘 다 가능한 발음입니다.
Yes, and so talking about this survey, they were asking respondents to mark it on a scale of 1 to 5. So if you put 1, you're not concerned about things. If you put 5, you're really concerned. And when it came to physical health, the average was 3.65, so concerned, and mental health was 3.19. And we had something like 64.9% concerned about their physical health, 40.9% concerned about their mental health. Everyone is looking for health checkups. 87% of multiple picks picked this as their top health management behavior. Everyone thinks medical checkups are important. 58.2% want to be taking food and health supplements. 46.3% want to exercise regularly. And also 46% want to sleep.
Yeah.
Because sleep is very important.
Of course.
So people are more concerned about their health. And we see it when it comes to multivitamins or vitamins and probiotics because 9 out of 10 have been taking them
Yeah.
for at least 1 month.
At the point of this survey. 이 설문조사가 진행됐을 시점에 이런 종합 비타민이나 유산균 등등을 내가 지금 한 달 이상 복용하고 있다라고 말한 응답자가 무려 90% 정도나 됐다고 합니다. 그리고 이제 on a scale of 1 to 5. 이 말이 이제 뭐냐면은 1에서 5까지 골라야 하는데 고른다기보다는 뭐 여기서는 1에서 5까지 측정을 한다라고 봤을 때 그때 이제 사람들이 건강에 대해서 얼마나 걱정을 하느냐 3.67 정도가 나왔대요. 꽤 높은 거죠. 5까지 제일 많이 우려하고 걱정하고 1은 하나도 걱정하지 않는 것이라고 했을 때 그렇습니다. So in English, you might say on a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 100, how would you rate today's weather?
I give it a 99.
Oh, you love this weather, do
I
you?
love a cool breeze.
Oh, there you go. On a scale of 1 to 뭐뭐뭐 이렇게 표현하면은요. 1에서 뭐까지 라고 했을 때 what would you choose or how would you rate something 이렇게 얘기할 수 있습니다. 자, 그러면 a lot of people in Korea are concerned about their health.
I'm not sure how to explain this to you, Sue.
I'm very concerned.
It's making me a little anxious.
Well-
I worry about getting the explanation right, about giving you the proper definition, and I'm not sure whether I can today. I'm really concerned about
Are
being
you?
concerned. Yes, if we're concerned about something, we're worried about it, we're anxious about it, we're paying attention to it because we think there could be a problem, there could be danger, or there could be something negative for us.
Yeah. For a moment there, I was very concerned. 자, 이 concerned라는 거는요, 굉장히 걱정이 된다는 뜻입니다. 그래서 be concerned, be very concerned 이렇게 be extremely concerned 가운데 다른 단어들 넣어서 얼마나 걱정했는지, 걱정하고 있는지 표현할 수 있겠고요. A lot of people, 65% in Korea, are concerned about their physical health. 신체 건강에 대해서 우려하고 걱정하는 사람들이 65%나 된다. And 9 out of 10 take supplements, multivitamins, whatever it is.
They take them from the pharmacy, they take them from the supermarket. No, it's not that kind of take here. Because take can mean literally to put your hands on something and remove it from somewhere. But here when we use to take medicine, to take a pill, to take supplements, it means we're consuming them. We're
Yeah.
putting them into our body in some form.
그래요. 우리가 약을 먹을 때, 약을 복용할 때 영어로는 eat라고 하지 않습니다. 그때 take 아니면 아까 consume이라는 동사도
네.
써주셨는데 그런 동사 쓸 수 있겠어요. 여기서는 take health supplements 건강기능식품을 복용한다. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A new survey shows that 65% of Koreans are concerned about their physical health, while 9 out of 10 respondents have been taking health supplements, such as multivitamins and probiotics, for at least a month.
Israeli troops have reportedly begun crossing into southern Lebanon, saying that they would destroy Hezbollah military infrastructure in villages close to the Israel-Lebanon border.
이스라엘군이 레바논 접경지 인근의 헤스볼라 군사 인프라를 파괴할 목적으로 국경을 넘어 레바논 남부에서 지상전을 개시한 것으로 전해졌습니다. Tell us more.
Well, this has been going on for a year. Hezbollah has had a year-long rocket campaign against Israel. And then a couple of weeks ago, Israel really retaliated in force. They've killed hundreds of people, according to the Lebanese health ministry. And now they've started this ground operation. And they're targeting sites that they say pose an immediate threat to Israeli communities in northern Israel. And for those who've already seen the news in the past few hours, we've also had Iran responding. They fired 180 or so ballistic missiles into Israel overnight.
Yeah.
Israel has the Iron Dome, as they call it, which is their defense system to protect them against it. But they have vowed to retaliate. So it's a very tense day, and I think it's going to be a very tense week in the Middle East.
Most of those 180 missiles, I believe, have been intercepted. But
Yes.
nonetheless, as we can see, it's the situation is really intense in the region we're talking about here. 자, 중동 지역에서 지금 이스라엘을 이렇게 지상전을 개시했다. ground operation, launched 됐다. 이런 표현도 나오고 있고요. 그다음에는 이제 좀 업데이트된 소식으로 이란에서 이스라엘을 향해 미사일을 굉장히 많이 지금 발사한 상황인데 대부분은 이제 가로챘다 아니면 요격하다라고 하는 intercepted 이렇게 표현하죠. 대부분은 intercepted가 됐다고 합니다만 그래도 지금 이제 여러 가지 확전이라는 말이 좀 조심스럽습니다만 여러 가지 지금 긴장 상황이 펼쳐지고 있어요.
It should be said that Iran informed the world they were going to do it before they did it,
Yep.
like they did previously a few weeks ago. So it's more of a demonstration, perhaps, of their force.
Yep.
It's not a surprise attack, but still, it's very, very worrying. And I think we're gonna see the news unfolding in the next few days.
Exactly. All right, if you cross into an area, what are you doing?
Well, you go from one area to another. So we could be talking about crossing into a different country, but you could well cross into a different neighborhood, into a different district.
Yeah.
When you go from Gyeonggi-do to Gangwon-do, you're crossing into a different province. So we use this term for when someone or some group or something is moving from one area to another.
cross into 어디라고 하면은 어디로 건너가다라는 뜻이 있죠. 어디에 그 국경선을 넘다가 될 수도 있고 경계를 넘다가 될 수도 있습니다. In this case, we're looking at Israeli troops crossing into Lebanon because Hezbollah is, of course, a Lebanese group, Lebanese Israeli Islamist political group, and so. There's a big conflict between the two sides.
There's been conflict for many, many, many years. What we're seeing here in the past year is the culmination of tensions that have risen over the past 70, 80 years.
Exactly. What's military infrastructure?
It's difficult to translate, Sue. It's infra.
Exactly.
Yeah, so in Korean we say infra, we say infrastructure in English, and it means all the bits and pieces. If we talk about public infrastructure, it can be roads and public transportation and hospitals and that kind of thing. If we're talking about military infrastructure, it's their bases, their buildings, their weapons storage facilities, their vehicles, all that kind of thing.
자, 군사 인프라, 군사 시설, 영어로는 military infrastructure라고 합니다. Here's the headline again. Israeli troops have reportedly begun crossing into southern Lebanon, saying they would destroy Hezbollah military infrastructure in villages close to the Israel-Lebanon border. Let's move on to the next headline.
German inflation fell to its lowest level since February 2021 last month, according to preliminary data, helping European Central Bank doves build their case for another interest rate cut this month.
지난달 독일 소비자 물가 상승률이 2021년 2월 이후 최저치를 기록한 것으로 잠정 집계된 가운데 유럽 중앙은행 온건파가 이달 추가적인 금리 인하를 단행할 가능성이 커졌습니다. All right, so what do we know?
Well, the good news for Germany was they did better than expected for September. They were predicting 1.9% for inflation,
Okay.
But it was actually only 1.8%. So this means that the ECB, the European Central Bank, could be looking at cutting interest rates. They've done that twice this year, and their target is 2% inflation. So for Germany to get 1.8 is very, very good, because that means that there's a good chance that maybe they can do that. They're thinking that for the whole Eurozone, it's expected to go down to 1.9 for September. We still haven't got the full data. We've only got the preliminary data.
Right.
But we could be seeing changes in terms of the ECB and its attitude towards interest rates.
Talking about the attitude of the ECB, there are two sides. One would be the doves, the others would be the hawks.
Yes, not the pigeons.
But there's obviously it's a reference to the birds because if you think of a dove, it's very sort of peaceful, but a hawk, it attacks. And so hawks generally are members of the bank who tend to want tighter monetary policies.
Yes.
And then doves are the people who want looser monetary policies. 자, 이제 갑자기 웬 비둘기냐 하셨을 수도 있는데요. 이 doves라는 게 비유적으로 쓰이는 겁니다. 그래서 이제 여러 가지 그 재정적인 정책들이 조금 더 이제 느슨하게 갔으면 하는 온건파는 doves라고 부릅니다.
Yeah, and
반대는 이제 hawks가 되겠고요.
There. And to be clear, because in Korean, they're all bidulgi.
Yeah,
But
in English,
doves are white.
That's right.
And they're the symbol. You'll see them in the Bible, for example, when Noah was on the ark, he sent off a dove to bring back an olive branch. They're a symbol
Yeah.
of peace and love and harmony.
I've always found that to be quite curious because in Korea, as you said, we just have one word for the two birds. 서양에서는 하얀 비둘기와 회색 비둘기를 지칭하는 단어가 달라요, 완전히. 그래서 하얀 비둘기는 평화를 상징하죠. 그게 dove고, 그 다음에 우리가 흔히 보는 이 회색 비둘기는 pigeon.
네.
완전히 이미지가 다르고 그냥 약간 다른 새처럼 사람들이 받아들이는 것 같아요. 적어도 이미지만큼은 그런데 자, 여기서 이제 그 유럽 중앙은행의 온건파, 강경파 말고 doves. 자, 그런 표현이 있고요. Preliminary data we're looking at.
Yes, if we have preliminary data, we have some data, but it's only the first set
Yeah.
or the first stage. We will get more data. It's not the final data. It's not the finalized data that we want, but it's the first stage of it so we can get a rough estimate maybe or get a prediction for the future.
Exactly. Preliminary라는 것은 예비, 사전에 무엇이라는 뜻이죠. 우리 축구에서도 preliminary rounds, 그러면 예선전이죠.
Or in hospital, you have a preliminary examination before you maybe have your full examination.
그렇죠. 먼저 하는 무언가를 preliminary라고 하는데 여기서는 잠정 집계된 데이터, preliminary data가 되겠습니다. 자, to build one's case. Let's look at that.
Sue, over the next half an hour, I will prove to you absolutely that I know the meaning of this expression. I will show you pages from the dictionary. I will show you websites that contain usages of this expression. And I will prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that I understand it, even if you don't.
Okay, well, I think you've built your case.
I have. I've shown you all the evidence. I've given you all the proof. I've been persuasive because that's what it means to build one's case. And you'll often see this used in terms of wanting to get a promotion, or maybe there's a lawyer trying to prove their client is guilty or not guilty.
Yep.
They will get all the evidence, all the information. But it's not just information gathering. It's also persuading other people. It's saying this is what we should do.
So this is a difficult one, but to translate it in Korean, it would be 주장을 뒷받침하다. Build one's case. 그러니까 아까 얘기했던 European Central Bank의 doves들이 그 rate cut를 계속 단행하고 싶어 했어요. 그런데 이제 여러 가지 상황으로 봤을 때 독일의 소비자 물가가 그 상승률이 최저치를 기록했고 지금 이 상황은 우리가 주장하는 대로 그 interest rate cut를 하기에 좋은 상황입니다. 주장을 뒷받침할 만한 상황이다라고 얘기를 하겠죠. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. German inflation fell to its lowest level since February 2021 last month, according to preliminary data, helping European Central Bank doves build their case for another interest rate cut this month. And moving on, here's our next headline.
International media outlets have turned the spotlight on Korean fashion model Chae Soon-hwa, who, at the age of 81, became the oldest contestant in the Miss Universe Korea pageant.
올해 미스 유니버스 국내 대회에서 81세의 나이로 도전에 최고령 참가자가 된 모델 최순화 씨의 사연이 외신에서도 집중 조명됐습니다. And this was the first year they decided to get rid of the age limit, right?
Yeah, and good for them
Yeah,
to do it, because I think it's important. I think she may be the only contestant in the history of Miss Universe to
In
be
Korea,
older,
at least, yeah.
well, to be older than the contest itself.
Oh, right.
She was born almost a decade before it started in 1952.
True, yeah.
She is the oldest ever participant. She's 80 years old. She did not win, but she did take home the Best Dresser award. And my goodness, she looked fabulous.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she feels fabulous because she's got all this attention from all over the world. I'm sure she's going to be doing a world tour anyway to sort of show off how amazing she is.
Yeah.
The thing is, we've had this age limit, 18 to 28, which is ridiculous. Well, you can be Miss Universe at any age or Mr. Universe at any age. So they updated the terms last year. You can be a mother, you can be married, you can be pregnant, you can be anybody as long as you're over the age of 18. They've also brought it into the 21st century. They've removed the swimsuit competition and they've opened the contest to many, many more women.
Yep.
Quick congratulations to Han Ariel,
Yes.
22-year-old fashion student who has won the Korean Miss Universe. She's going to go to the 73rd Miss Universe pageant in Mexico City in November. Good luck to her.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you said, this World Universe pageant, this contest, it's held first of all regionally, so each country has their own world Miss World Universe.
Miss Universe.
Miss Universe, thank you.
Yeah, because there's a Miss World
Oh,
and then
that's
there's
right.
a Miss Universe. Two different
Get
things.
confused depths. So in Korea, first of all, we had our own Miss Universe contest where, as you said, Han Ariel won. She's 22 years old. However, the spotlight is on 81-year-old Choi Soon-hwa. CNN and other media outlets have really focused on her because even though she didn't win, she is the oldest contestant in Korea, and she did actually get a prize for best dresser.
Yes.
So good for her. And she's gorgeous. I saw photos and I think, this is wonderful.
It is. We should be celebrating people no matter their age. And it's really good to see a senior citizen say, well, if those young'uns can do it, why can't I?
맞습니다. 원래는 참가 연령이 18세에서 28세였는데 올해 처음으로 이 연령 제한을 이제 없애기로 했어요. 그래서 우리나라의 이 미스 월드 코리아 대회에서
미스 유니버스요.
제가 이름을 계속 잘못 말했네요. 미스
세상 말고 우주입니다.
네, 미스 유니버스 코리아 여기에서 이제 출전을 했었고 우승은 못해서 국제 무대에는 진출 못했지만 그럼에도 불구하고 많은 스포트라이트를 받고 있는 81세의 최순화 씨가 되겠습니다. 이제 우리나라는 67회의 미스 유니버스 코리아 대회였고요. 그다음에 이제 국제 무대로 가게 되는데 국제 무대는 73회. 그게 이제 바로 미스 유니버스
네.
그 국제 대회가 되는 거죠.
Are you entering next year?
저도 참가할까요?
I would enter, but I don't think I qualify.
실소가 나오네요. 참. 그래서 네 그렇습니다. 자 우리 이제 첫 번째 표현을 볼 텐데 a lot of media outlets are turning their spotlight on Choi Soon-hwa.
Yeah, meaning they're focusing on her. Because what is a spotlight? Well, it is the focus light used in a theatre or at a concert hall that focuses on one person in particular and puts a very strong light on them so the audience will look at them. So if we turn the spotlight on someone, we're really focusing on them and we're telling everyone else, look at them over there.
Exactly. 집중하다, 주목하다라는 뜻이 되겠죠. And a contestant is
Someone who participates in a competition, a participant.
그렇죠. 참가자가 되겠습니다. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. International media outlets have turned the spotlight on Korean fashion model Choi Soon-hwa, who at the age of 81 became the oldest contestant in the Miss Universe Korea pageant. And that's it for today's headlines.
Korea's consumer prices slowed to the lowest level in over 3 years in September, falling below 2% for the first time since early 2021, according to Statistics Korea.
지난달 국내 소비자 물가 상승률이 2021년 초 이후 처음으로 2% 아래로 떨어지면서 3년여 만에 최저 수준으로 둔화했다고 통계청이 발표했습니다. Tell us more.
Well, Korea's headline inflation cooled in September, and it finally fell below the central bank's 2% target. And as we mentioned, the first time since actually March of 2021. Experts are citing lower oil prices and weakening demand as some of the factors that are contributing to the easing inflation. And this is also raising expectations of an interest rate cut in October.
자, easing expectations of inflation, easing inflation expectations.
Easing, well, this is what contributed to the easing of inflation, the lower of inflation, and this is actually raised expectations, increased expectations
got it.
of a rate cut.
그러네요. 여기서 easing이라는 것은 E-A-S-I-N-G 둔화했다는 뜻으로 볼 수 있어요. inflation이라는 단어를 꾸미고 있습니다. 그래서 물가 상승률이 좀 둔화했다. 2%대 정도로 둔화하는 게 목표였다고 하는데 그 2% 아래로 내려갔습니다. 2021년 3월 이후 처음으로 2% 아래로 떨어진 거라고 하고요. 물가 상승률이 우리가 이제 크면 클수록 장 보러 갈 때 굉장히 비싸다고 느껴지고 하잖아요. So I guess now people are going to feel less of the pinch. It's not like prices aren't rising, but they're rising less.
It's hard to say, and you also have to look at what's included in the CPI basket. So a lot of times governments kind of change what's in the basket depending on how they want the reading to go. But nonetheless, inflation is cooling. So that's good news. The government and the Bank of Korea, they've predicted that Korea's inflation will remain around 2% for the foreseeable future. That is unless there are fluctuations in international oil prices, which we're going to talk about next. So there's a chance of that.
별다른 변화가 없는 이상은 이 물가 상승률이 계속해서 지금과 비슷한 2% 전후로 지속이 되지 않을까 이렇게 전망이 된다고 하지만 이제 여러 가지 요소들이 이것을 바꿀 수 있습니다. 그 중에 하나가 이제 국제유가인데 그건 잠시 후에 더 살펴보도록 하고요. CPI라는 약자를 아까 얘기하셨어요. Consumer Price Index의 약자죠. 거기서 consumer라는 단어 보겠습니다.
Consumer is someone who buys things, someone who buys products. We're all consumers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm a consumer, you're a consumer.
Yeah, everybody's a consumer. Even little kids, they consume some things.
Sure.
But consumer is usually someone who buys something. So I
소비자.
guess little kids wouldn't be, and until they have money, then
Yeah.
they're consumers.
Although the market for kids' products is massive because the parents
They're
buy
buying that,
big
right.
consumers for their kids.
Exactly. So indirectly, even babies
Yeah.
maybe
Oh.
could be considered consumers.
For sure. 소비자, consumer. 그래서 consumer price index라는 게 소비자 물가 지수가 되겠고요. 자, fall below something.
It means to go under something. It's hard to kind of explain. It's kind of
exactly.
self-explanatory,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
would think of falling below. Usually if we were using this, I would be talking about a certain level or a certain threshold. So
Yep.
perhaps like the temperature fell below 20 degrees or something like that.
fall below number. fall below 뭐뭐뭐 이렇게 해서 이 숫자 아래로 떨어졌다. 라고 할 때 우리가 많이 쓰는 표현입니다.
Being less than some number, some level.
Exactly. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Korea's consumer prices slowed to the lowest level in over 3 years in September, falling below 2% for the first time since early 2021, according to Statistics Korea. Now let's move on to the next news.
Oil prices surged more than 5% during trading on Tuesday due to rising concerns Middle East tensions could escalate, potentially disrupting crude output from the region.
중동 지역 긴장 상황이 악화함에 따라 이 지역 원유 생산이 차질을 빚을 수 있다는 우려가 커지면서 지난 화요일 국제유가가 장중한 때 5% 이상 급등했던 것으로 알려졌습니다. Now, oil prices, they continue to fluctuate. They go up and down, and it says here during trading, which means during the trading hours of the day.
But the thing is, though, future contracts are traded 24 hours a day. So
okay.
this was Tuesday,
Right.
and this all really happened because of Iran launching 180 missiles towards Israel on Tuesday evening
Yeah.
local time.
We did that news yesterday, actually. Yeah.
So you must be well aware of that. So after that happened, both major crude benchmarks, Brent crude and WTI, which is from the States, West Texas Intermediary, they surged 5% before closing down around 2.5%. On Wednesday, again, there was another increase of around 3% for both of them. I just looked at recent prices; they're down a little bit now. But
Why is it that when there's conflict in the Middle East, oil prices they move accordingly?
yeah, well, anytime there's conflict, you're going to see that, but especially in the Middle East because that's where most of the oil comes from. Iran has 4% of the reserves.
So this could disrupt production. Is
It
that
could
what
it could
is, or-
disrupt production. What also might Iran do? Because now the U.S. and Israel are both saying that they're going to retaliate for this. What might Iran or some of its allies do in response to that? They attacked a Saudi oil facility in 2019 with drones. Could they do that again? They will sometimes also close the Strait of Hormuz, which is where a lot of the oil is transported through.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
any of these things will send oil prices higher. So a lot of times, it's will physical production be disrupted? That's one side. The other side is people just get worried.
Yeah. Uncertainties, of course,
Yes.
always affect oil prices, stock
Exactly.
prices, whatever it is. 자, 그래요. 이런 불확실성 때문에 결국은 뭐 유가도 그렇고 주가도 그렇고 많이 요동치게 되죠. 중동 지역에서 어제 저희가 모닝 스페셜에서 다뤘던 소식이기도 한데 이란이 이스라엘을 향해서 180발의 미사일을 발사했습니다. 그 소식이 나오면서 곧바로 이제 여러 가지 우려들이 어떻게 보면은 발현이 된 거죠. 이 유가에서도 우리가 볼 수 있습니다. 그래서 화요일 국제유가 이 뉴스가 나왔을 때 당시입니다. 그 장중 한때 5% 이상 급등했다라는 소식이고요. 이 장중 한때를 영어로는 during trading이라고 합니다. 자, 올랐다는 거, you could say surge, you could say rose. But if when you're talking about tensions, 긴장감이 고조됐다, you say escalate.
Yeah, we usually use escalate for when a situation gets worse or increases in seriousness.
Okay.
So I remember I worked in a customer call center years ago, and if a customer or client's complaining, then a lot of times the customer service representative will escalate their complaint and they'll take that to a manager.
Yeah,
So
got it.
it increases in seriousness. It becomes something that the first level person can't deal with anymore. So they need to take it to someone higher. Think of an escalator.
Yeah.
Things increase.
It goes up.
Yeah.
escalate가 이제 사실은 악화된다라는 의미로 많이 씁니다. 물론 사전적인 의미에는 증가하다, 확대하다라는 의미도 있지만 우리가 어떤 이제 수치가 올랐을 때 여기서 뭐 유가가 올랐다라고 할 때는 에스컬레이트를 잘 쓰지 않고요. 상황이 악화됐다라고 할 때 많이 씁니다. 그래서 여기 중동 지역의 긴장감이 고조됐다. Middle East tensions could escalate. 긴장될 수 있다라고 해야 되겠네요. 그러다 보니까 that has made oil prices surge. Crude output, let's look at that.
Well, if we're talking about
Crude, yeah.
oil
Yeah.
in general, crude oil, when we talk crude substances, they're natural and unrefined. So that's what that means. We're talking about crude oil.
Yeah.
It's not refined. It's not ready to go in your car. Crude has many different meanings. So if someone makes a crude comment, then it's rude or vulgar, and people might be offended by it.
네. crude comment라는 거는 좀 무례한 그런 댓글이라고 볼 수 있어요. crude라는 것 자체가 다듬어지지 않았다라는 의미가 원래는 있습니다. 그래서 crude oil이라는 것은 기름인데 다듬어지지 않은 거니까 원유가 되겠고요. 정제된 것은 refined oil이라고 얘기하고 코멘트 같은 경우에는 what's the opposite of a crude comment? A nice comment?
Yeah, polite.
A polite comment?
Yeah.
Okay, polite comment. 이렇게 예의를 갖춘 코멘트 이렇게
Yeah.
좀
The opposite of polite.
Yeah, is crude.
Yes.
자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Oil prices surged more than 5% during trading on Tuesday due to rising concerns. Middle East tensions could escalate, potentially disrupting crude output from the region.
Claudia Sheinbaum has been sworn in as Mexico's first ever female president and the first Jewish leader in the nation's more than 200 years of independence.
멕시코 200년 헌정사상 여성이자 유대인으로서는 처음으로 대통령에 당선된 클라우디아 셰인바움 대통령이 취임식과 함께 임기를 시작했습니다. Wow, tell us about this.
Well, she is a 62-year-old former mayor of Mexico City, and she took the oath of office at a ceremony in Mexico City. First Lady Jill Biden was there, as well as other leaders from mostly Caribbean and Latin American countries. She begins her 6-year term at a time when the nation does face many problems, including spiraling organized crime violence, a slowing economy, and also tensions with the U.S. over controversial judicial reforms. So she's definitely not going to have an easy go here. And also, she takes office just 1 month before the U.S. election, where
Right.
Mexico and the migrant crisis at the border is really in the spotlight. And also, negotiations surrounding the free trade agreement between Mexico, the U.S., and Canada used to be called NAFTA, set for renewal in 2026. So she's going to have her
Wow.
work cut out for her, for sure.
Exactly. She's gonna have her work cut out for her. 앞으로 해야 될 일이 어마어마하다. 쉽지 않을 거다. 이런 뜻입니다. Have someone's work cut out for them. Well, she took the oath of office, as you said. She has been sworn in.
So when someone is sworn in, it's usually used for a president or a leader of a country.
Yeah.
They take the oath of office, and then that means they officially become the president. So the oath of office is a official promise by that person that they will fulfill the duties of the office according to the law.
Exactly.
They'll be honest and truthful and
Yeah.
do their job properly.
자, be sworn in이라는 표현은요, 선서를 하고 취임을 하다라는 뜻이고요. 비슷한 표현으로 take the oath of office라고 할 수 있습니다. usually this is an expression that's reserved for heads of state.
Right, and they in many countries they'll put their hand on the Bible
Yes.
when they do that.
그렇습니다. 서양의 많은 국가에서는 이 선서를 할 때 성경책 위에다가 손을 올려놓고 그 다음에 나는 이렇게 하겠습니다라고 이제 선서하면서 취임을 하죠. 자, 그 다음에 first ever.
First ever means the first time something's ever happened, the first time in history. It's never happened before.
Yep. First ever. 그러면은 생전 처음이다, 사상 최초다라는 뜻입니다. Mexico has never had a female president.
She's the first ever.
And she's not only the first female president, she's also the first Jewish leader of the country as well. She's the first ever of many things, many firsts.
She's a trailblazer, we would say.
Yes, yeah. All right, here's the headline again. Claudia Sheinbaum has been sworn in as Mexico's first ever female president and the first Jewish leader in the nation's more than 200 years of independence. Let's move on to the next headline.
Switzerland and Italy have redrawn a section of their alpine border due to shifting natural boundaries caused by the melting of glacier ridgelines and areas of perpetual snow.
기후변화로 알프스 능선의 빙하와 만년설 지역이 녹으면서 스위스와 이탈리아가 알프스 산맥 주변의 국경선 일부를 다시 그리기로 했습니다. Wow, so they're redrawing the map.
Yeah, they sure are. And part of the area that's affected will be beneath the Matterhorn, which is one of Europe's tallest mountains.
Yeah.
And it's close to a number of popular ski resorts as well. Switzerland officially approved the agreement on Friday, and the approval process for signing the agreement is currently underway in Italy. So that hasn't quite happened yet. Now, last week, Switzerland said that they've decided to do this in accordance with the economic interests of both parties. And one thing that they said was they think it will clarify, that clarifying the border, will help both countries determine which one is responsible for the upkeep of specific natural areas.
자, 이렇게 자연 현상으로 인해서 지도를 다시 그려야 하는 상황이 발생했네요. The reason they're redrawing the map is because of the shifting natural boundaries.
When something shifts, it moves.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
The shifting of tectonic plates, or you might talk about, you have shifting interests. Your
Yeah.
interests change.
옮긴다, 바뀐다라는 뜻이에요. Shifting. 그래서 shifting natural boundaries. 자연적인 경계가 이 알프스 능선이 빙하 때문에 눈이 녹아내려서 자연적으로 움직였어요. 그러다 보니까 지도도 다시 그리게 됐습니다.
In your car, you shift gears.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
you
right.
move gears, change them.
아, 맞네요. 네. 우리-
Moving or changing, we could also say it that way as well. So
yeah.
in sports, we'll talk about, or even like factory work, you'll be on a shift.
Yes.
And then you'll change. So shifting has a lot to do with movement and change.
네. shift가 명사로 썼을 때는 교대 근무의 그 의미가 있는데 그때도 생각해 보면 바뀌는 거죠. 근무자가 바뀌는 거니까. 그 바뀐다라는 의미는 똑같이 들어 있습니다. 근데 여기서 말하는 동사 shift라는 것은 이제 change, move 이런 뜻이 있는데 우리 기어 바꿀 때 D에서 R로, 뭐 P로 이렇게 기어를 바꿀 때 영어로는 shifting gears라고 합니다. 자, 그다음에 perpetual.
And that's the opposite. It's when something is continuous, it never ends or it never changes.
영구적이다. 네, 영원하다. perpetual.
Some days I feel like I live in a state of perpetual hunger.
Oh, I thought you were going to say perpetual bliss.
Nah, hunger, always hungry. Did you ever feel that way?
Yes, yes. 어떤 때는 진짜 그 먹어도 배가 고픈 날이 있다. 레이 선생님이 그때는 perpetual hunger를 느낀다고 했습니다. 근데 이제 많이 쓰는 표현 중에 perpetual bliss라는 게 있어요. 나는 언제나 행복해. 뭘 해도 행복해. 영화 속에서 나오는 대사인 것 같긴 한데 perpetual 그렇게 영원하다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. 우리 작가님이 뱃속에 뭐 거지가 있느냐 이렇게 말을 하고 있는 것 같은데 perpetual 영원하다, 영구적이다, 늘 그렇다. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Switzerland and Italy have redrawn a section of their alpine border due to shifting natural boundaries caused by the melting of glacier ridgelines and areas of perpetual snow. Let's move on to the final headline.
A new analysis of Vincent van Gogh's famous painting Starry Night has revealed a striking similarity to hidden turbulence in Earth's atmosphere. suggesting the artist had a surprisingly detailed understanding of natural processes.
I love this story, but let me translate it first. 빈센트 반 고흐의 유명한 그림 별이 빛나는 밤을 과학적으로 분석한 결과 지구 대기 속 난류의 움직임을 그대로 포착한 부분이 보인다는 결론이 나왔습니다. 이는 고흐가 자연 현상에 대해 놀랄 만큼 상세한 이해력을 갖고 있었음을 시사한다고 해당 연구진은 밝혔습니다. 이게 정말 놀라운 이유는요. 지금 얘기한 이 대기 속의 난류 움직임에 대한 이론이 나오기도 전에 반 고흐가 그거를 어떻게 알았는지 그림에다가 정확하게 묘사한 겁니다. He was a genius, wasn't he?
He sure was. Now, did he actually understand this type of thing? Probably
Don't know.
not. That's what they're. He didn't. So he created this masterpiece actually from a psychiatric facility, like a Jungshim
He was very depressed.
He'd also, he was
Yeah.
having hallucinations. He
Yeah.
cut off part of his ear.
Yeah.
This was back in 1889, so that's actually quite important. So they say that this painting, it depicts a view just before sunrise from the window of his room in the Jungshim-byongwon. And now, so this new analysis by physicists in China and France, they've measured the swirls and the brushstrokes and also his color choices. And they found that 14 of these swirling shapes in the painting align with the Soviet mathematician Andrei Kolmogorov's theory of turbulence.
Yep.
Now, Van Gogh, he couldn't have known about this theory because this was created and he died 13 years before this mathematician was ever born.
Exactly.
Now, the researchers, they think that how did he capture this guy's turbulence? Because he was just so talented, and they said he was a meticulous observer of nature.
Yep, exactly. A meticulous observer. 관찰을 하는데 정말 하나도 놓치는 게 없이 관찰을 할 때 meticulous observer라고 표현을 할 수 있고요. of nature. 자연에 대한 관찰을 그냥 허투루 한 게 아닙니다. 빈센트 반 고흐의 이 별이 빛나는 밤 너무나 유명한 작품이죠. 거기 이렇게 동글동글한 하늘에 있는 그 별들과 뭔가 이렇게 동글동글한 게 많잖아요. 요거를 과학적으로 분석을 해봤더니 반 고흐가 죽고 나서 생긴 이론인 이 대기 중에 난류 이론의 그 움직임, 대기 속에 그 어떻게 그 공기가 움직이는지 이 흐름의 방향과 색깔과 이게 일치하는 게 상당히 많았다고 합니다. 그러니까 과학자도 아니고 그 이론도 그때 당시에는 존재하지 않았는데 관찰만으로 이렇게나 정확한 걸 해냈다는 거죠.
And Vincent van Gogh is amazing. Anyone who has never been, I highly recommend going to the Van Gogh Museum if you're ever in Amsterdam. It's incredible.
A few months ago, I went to an interactive Van Gogh exhibition in Seoul.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't go. I saw advertisements for that, but I never went.
Yeah, they have these Van Gogh exhibitions every now
Sure.
and then across the country.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
sometimes in different parts of Korea. And I highly recommend going because it's really interesting to see what was in this, genius's mind. But as I said, he was depressed. He was poor. His life itself was not glitzy or glamorous or happy in any way. And yet he produced these beautiful artworks.
Yeah, incredible.
Let's have a look at this expression. There's a striking similarity to his, swirls and this theory.
Right. So when a similarity means when something is similar, which means almost the same. When you say striking, it means it's very noticeable. Like, oh, there's a striking similarity between people. Like, sometimes you'll see I think I might have said that to you when you showed me a picture or I met your daughter. I was like, oh, there's a striking similarity. Like, that's Sue's kid. I could tell right away.
That's what people tell me.
Right. So
I don't see it, but
Really? Yeah. I did.
my friend from London, from when I was very young, so she only really knew me when I was 5, 6, 7, maybe up until the age of 10,
Sure.
I would say. And then we've only recently gotten back in touch. So it's been many decades, and she still just remembers me as a kid.
Exactly.
And then she saw a picture of my daughter. She goes, that's
your
you.
kid. Yeah.
It's like, it's you. And I said, no, really? Is it? I don't see the similarity. But she said it was striking.
I saw a picture of,
Yeah.
of one of my friend's sister's daughter this morning, and wow, striking similarity to how she looked as a kid.
Aha.
And when you say
I see.
similarity, it's not exactly the same,
Yeah.
but it's It's very close.
Right. Striking similarity라는 거는 눈에 띌 정도로 비슷하다. 너무 놀라울 정도로 비슷하다라는 뜻입니다. similarity 앞에 이렇게 striking이라는 단어를 한번 넣어서 써보세요. 그러면 그냥 비슷한 정도가 아니라 와, 어쩜 이렇게 비슷해? 하는 느낌을 담은 겁니다. And it looks like Van Gogh had a detailed understanding of natural phenomena.
Yeah, I guess he did, but detailed understanding means you understand something very, very well.
네, 아주 상세한 이해력을 가지고 있었나 보다. 이렇게 우리가 추측을 해보는 겁니다.
You're very, very knowledgeable.
Here's the headline again. A new analysis of Vincent van Gogh's famous painting Starry Night has revealed a striking similarity to hidden turbulence in Earth's atmosphere, suggesting the artist had a surprisingly detailed understanding of natural processes. Well, that's it for our headlines with Ray.